So I'm Matt Johansson, Matty J, whatever you want to call me.
Oh, I'm Kyle Osborne, or The Cause.
This is Cause, Baby Cause, sure.
I'm The Cause. A lot of people know me as Jack Bauer now, so that's kind of cool.
The internet's Jack Bauer for the LA Times
And
audience.
someone joined. I don't know who it is, but someone's on.
Who is it? There he is.
Nice.
Cool. Video chatting with us on our Chromebook. So we both work for White Hat Security's Threat Research Center. That sounds pretty much as epic as it gets, right? But we are web app hackers. You want to talk about?
Oh yeah. I'm an application security specialist. Blah blah blah. Offensive security, fun stuff. Likes to make things scarier than they actually are, but not FUD-like.
Kyle breaks things. This is our obligatory what our company does.
Sometimes.
We scan websites for vulnerabilities, just past 4,000 sites. Very cool. Don't care. Okay, so the CR48, this is what started this whole mess. This is what started our research. Kyle's sitting on Google Plus on it right now. This is the beta version of the Chromebooks that came out back in the fall, 2010. Who had a beta CR48 in the room? Sweet. Yeah, they were sitting on about 25,000. You have yours right there. All right. I have an extension I'd like you to install. So, they were sitting on about 25,000 of these. They mailed them out. They gave White Hat one for us to hack on it, and we wouldn't be here if we didn't, right? So we found some pretty cool things. So before the CR48 came out, Chrome OS was out as an open source project. You could install it on whatever machine you were running, whatever VM you were running, that kind of thing. But this is the first device that actually was dedicated to it, and utilized all of its features, utilized all the security features that Google put in place. Another thing is that this is no longer a beta product. These are out in the public. Samsung put them out as Chromebooks. Did anyone buy them? Cool, a few of you? Nice. All right, so yeah, they're out there. They're in production right now. What we know about Chrome OS, right? It's a web-based operating system. We were actually shocked when we opened this laptop that it was just a browser. It was just Chrome. We were like, oh, okay. A machine with Chrome on it. I already had one of those. But so this is all it is, right? It's just Chrome. So in order to get any functionality out of this, besides the web browser, you got to use the extensions in the web store. It's kind of like the Apple App Store, but they obviously couldn't call it that.
Like Amazon.
Because of all of that, nothing is stored locally, right? The hard drive, you have no access to it. As a user of this device, you cannot touch the hard drive. You can't store anything on it. It's small anyway. Nothing is really on it. The file system is there. It's just Chrome. So because of that, it's pretty fast. You open these things up, and they're on. You're online. You're on the web browser. And Google's kind of pushing you towards storing everything in Google Docs or your Google Music, anything like that. They're pushing you towards the cloud, right? So this is what they're putting up against the iPads of the world, right? This is what they're putting up against Apple. They're trying to steal some market share, and it could very well sneak their way into the market. The Samsung Chromebook only came out in June, so even though we've had these CR48s for a while, they've only been available for public purchase for a few months. So we don't really know what it's going to look like if this is going to steal a bunch of market share or not. So the analogy that we like to make, I've made it a few times already, is that these things are kind of like mobile devices but with keyboards, right? So it's an iPad with a keyboard, but it's just a web browser on it. So the same way that on those phones, like an iPhone or something like that, is very locked down, and you can't install anything on it. You can't just go ahead and install Microsoft Word on your iPhone, right? Wouldn't that be cool? But in order to do anything with it without jailbreaking it, you got to go to the App Store, right? So how many people in here have more than 3 pages of apps on their iPhone in their pocket? Okay, a bunch of you, right? So people go app crazy, right? You got to download a bunch of different things. So those of you who have iPhones and have installed all these apps, how many of you have seen the permission warning that comes up, right? This app that you're about to install is going to have access to your GPS location, your call history, your text messages, your mother's maiden name, your social security number, all that kind of things, right? Who's hit cancel because of that pop-up box? Oh, not enough of you. This is DEFCON. Come on. Right? So the same thing kind of happens in the Chrome Web Store when you go to install an extension on Chrome. Right below the install button, it says what websites that extension is going to have access to talk to. So we'll see some more examples of this in a second.
Another thing we want to point out is that with the App Store, there's actually a code review process, or not necessarily code review. There's an application review process, sort of like a Q&A sort of deal going on. It's not a security review as far as I know, but the Chrome Web Store doesn't have any sort of Q&A process going on. So you go immediately from the third-party developer to the Google Chrome Web Store for anybody to download.
So a lot of these extensions are developed by third parties, right? It could just be a person. It could be Zynga, or it could just be a person, right? Google also has a bunch of extensions in there, but we found a vulnerability in those too, right? So what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? No. All right. Oh yeah. So because of like the lack of review process in the Chrome Web Store, you can look it up right now. There's a extension called Cookie Stealer. I promise we didn't make it, but it's called Cookie Stealer, and that's what it does, and it's available for download. Go ahead. We're going to demonstrate a malicious extension that we developed later on in the talk. We named it Malicious Extension, with no legitimate purpose whatsoever.
I did upload it.
And it got into the web store, no problem, right? You could have downloaded it. Well, we'll show it later.
It's not there anymore.
He took it down right away.
I only let a few people download it.
We put the icon as a picture of Justin Bieber. It had 4 million downloads. Okay, so what does a hacker see, right? So we're looking at this web store as web hackers, like heaven, right? This is a brand new attack surface for us. This is months old. It's not even years old yet, right? So I'm sure this room, more than anyone, knows early on in a product lifecycle, where does security come into play? Just non-existent, right? So it's not making money early on. It's costing money, right? So a lot of these extensions are just coming out now. So of course they're going to have security holes in them because that's what we find.
Especially now because it's all just HTML5 and JavaScript. So why do you need to worry about security in HTML5 and JavaScript? You do most of that stuff server side. There are not very many attacks that a server can't block that get reflected back to a user with HTML5 and JavaScript.
So the other cool thing about a lot of these Chrome extensions, makes them different than a lot of like the Firefox or Safari or Internet Explorer add-ons and things like that, is these are just little mini websites, right? They're just used to help like increase functionality of these Chromebooks especially, but the Chrome browser, right? You can install any of these on your machine right now. A lot of them just take up very little screen real estate, which is really important on a netbook. If any of you use netbooks, really important, right? So let's just get right to what started the whole mess. So this is kind of like their version of Notepad, right? It's called Scratchpad. It's just a note-taking application. It was pre-installed. It was the very first one on the CR48. Who's used it? Who's seen it, used it? Who has CR48 Scratchpad, right? All right, cool. So it's a little nifty note-taking thing. And the other feature that's cool about it is that it automatically syncs to your Google Docs account in a folder called Scratchpad, right? So when you're writing up your shopping list or your to-do list or whatever you're doing in this little tiny mini website in the bottom of your screen, it syncs to your Google Docs account. Another feature of Google Docs that we've used in this exploit was that you can actually share a document or a folder with someone else who's using Google Docs, and they don't have to give you permission to get that folder or document, right? Which has been, I guess, mostly okay because Google Docs is pretty well protected, but the Scratchpad extension was not, right? So we could go ahead and share our malicious document, which you'll see in a second. Do you have anything you want to say before?
Right. So just the key points that we wanted to push is that it comes default. Everybody that has Chrome OS has it. You can install it on Chrome. What was it?
You're authenticated to your Google
yes.
account to use it, right? The main feature of it is that it syncs to your Google Docs account, so you're definitely authenticated. Everyone has it. It's on every single one of these Chromebooks, and you don't need permission to receive anything.
And then on top of that, Google Documents lets you share across, or lets you share to anybody without notifying them or allowing them to accept it. It just automatically goes into their documents, completely stealthy if you want to.
So not only do they not need to give you permission, there's a nice convenient checkbox when you share a document that says, turn off email notification to the person. So we can go ahead and share the document without their permission, and they'll never even know that it happened, right? And this automatically syncs to Scratchpad. So Google fixed this cross-site scripting bug right away, but I found it within half an hour of opening the CR48. It was the very first extension I opened. I threw in a tag, no sort of filter. I didn't do any crazy web hacker stuff. I threw in a tag, it didn't handle it, and we were like, oh, what can we do with this? So at first we were trying to steal OAuth tokens that it was using and things, but then we just realized that it was talking directly to docs.google.com and www.google.com, so we were able to do some cool stuff. So we have a video since they fixed it right away.
Right, so this is in
Yeah, go.
fall 2010. There are about 30,000 users at the time. Those are either Chrome users or Chrome OS users that come default. In the bottom right, you can actually see the little yellow box there that is the permissions it gives you, that it needs to actually function, which is access to google.com and docs.google.com.
And your browser history.
And your browser history for some reason.
Okay, cool, thanks.
So we're going to go ahead and show intended functionality, which is actually just adding a document and syncing it. So this is a regular user's account. No big deal here.
The
Should
victim.
sync right there. So there's actually a Scratchpad folder on the left, if you can see that. And that's actually where all your documents are stored. And that's important to remember that it's in that Scratchpad folder, because we're going to be utilizing that feature to attack this victim. So we're going to go ahead and move over to the attacker's docs, and you can see there's an inject right there, a document right there that has a HTML and JavaScript in it. Now that's completely sane inside of docs.google.com. It's not being rendered, there's no JavaScript being executed, it's just the title of the document. So
can you guys see the URL that we're calling? So we're basically using an on-mouse over event just for illustration purposes. This could all happen automatically, but we're going to use an on-mouse over event to fire our JavaScript, and it calls out to an external JavaScript file on Kyle's domain, iamawesome.com. That's the external JavaScript file.
It expired, so if you want to go buy it, I guess I could have sold it here and made some money.
Now we're going to share it.
So we're actually going to be sharing the Scratchpad folder. Now when we share the Scratchpad folder from the attacker to the victim, the full folder actually gets moved over. So right here, we go ahead and throw the user ID or the username, the victim's email address into there, and we uncheck that little nifty checkbox that says, what is it?
Send email notification.
So we can just simply share it to the user without any sort of notification. So go ahead and share it. We'll zoom back right over to the victim's account, and in just a second, his Google account will sync with a shared Scratchpad folder. There it is. And then in just a second, it's going to sync with Scratchpad. And now this is just an on-mouse over event, so just a link with a JavaScript event. We can make this all automated. There's no reason that we couldn't just make it pop. So what we're doing here, we sourced in that JavaScript file into this completely sane extension, this extension provided by Google, and we have now taken over the extension.
So we made some nifty buttons out of JavaScript that do exactly what they say on them.
Right. For the purpose of the demonstration, there are buttons. Automation is pretty basic. So the first button actually grabs your Google contacts. Because you're logged into Google and Scratchpad needs to access google.com, we can just pull down google.com/contacts. So I can have Scratchpad just make a request, pull down the export functionality, pull all down as nicely formatted CSV format, thank you Google, and then I can wrap that up. It's very parsable. Then I can just wrap that up and spit it back out, send it back to the attacker without the user ever really noticing. Another bit of functionality that Scratchpad app has, because it has access to docs.google.com and www.google.com, I can actually spawn a tab with one of those host names in it, and then I can inject JavaScript into that frame.
There's a nifty built-in function called execute script.
Yep, tabs.execute script.
In the API, there we go.
So it's great because now we can effectively inject JavaScript to any web page we want. And in the scope of this app, it's only docs.google.com and www.google.com.